welcome to Lakers Central. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos or our live streams. So we're going to talk about Kyle Kuzma. After scoring double-digit points and shooting at least 45% in his first 3 games, in his last 2 games, he's only scored 6 points in each of those games, and he shot less than 28%. So I asked Vinay and Jason about Kyle Kuzma being consistently inconsistent. And here's what those guys had to say about that. Jason, Vinay mentioned Kuzma, and I'm sure some Lakers fans are going to point to his shooting tonight. I think he was like 2 for 7. He had 6 points. They're going to talk about the inconsistency of him from game to game. We had someone in our comments already tonight, Leslie Johnson, say, trade Kuz for an athletic big so we can open up more minutes for THT. Vinay and I have talked at length that Kuzma is not taking minutes away from THT. But what did you think of Kuzma tonight? And are you at all concerned about his inconsistency, or do you think that he's just simply filling a role, and if he gets time, he gets minutes, he'll play better. If he doesn't get the minutes, then obviously he won't be able to put up the scoring nights that some fans think that he should be putting up.
I'm not concerned about Kuzma at all because this is who Kyle Kuzma is. He is an inconsistent basketball player. And, there are dead giveaways in inconsistent basketball players that you'll see, the little telltale signs that you'll notice. LeBron was like this a lot when he was younger, where the jump shot form changes all the time. One day he's kicking his legs out, and the next day he's super balanced. One day he's shooting up, the next day he's shooting out. There's all these little differences in his form. The reason why I wouldn't trade Kuzma at this point is because I love the contract. Mm-hmm. And generally speaking, as professionals become better, and this happened to LeBron as he has aged, as professionals become better, they become more consistent. As they get older, as they become more savvy veterans, they learn from their bad games and they learn from their good games, and they start to do a better job of replicating that process. And they start to get better. The chances of Kyle Kuzma at the end of, I know it's a 3-year deal, but the third one is not guaranteed, so it's effectively a 2-year extension. So at the end of that second year of that extension, so 2.5 years from now, he's likely to be worth a hell of a lot more than that number that he's under contract for, because he's going to be a guy who's nearly 30 years old, who's played a lot of NBA basketball games in a winning environment. So you just got to weather the storm with Kyle, because it's going to be worth it in the long run. What does that mean right now? It means one day he's going to look like the 3rd best player on the floor, and the next day he's going to look like the 10th best player on the floor. And as long as he at least tries hard on the defensive end, you live with the misses. It's the same thing you're going to live with Wesley Matthews and Alex Caruso and all of those things. The only thing I care about is his focus and effort on the defensive end of the floor. This Laker team is constructed in a way where their role players can be inconsistent because their stars are not. Now AD has been inconsistent here in the early going, but he'll eventually get it together. Mm-hmm. LeBron and AD are their consistent pieces, and their role players, because of how much LeBron and AD bring to the table, because of how much of the load they carry, you can weather the storm of inconsistency with the role players. And so from that standpoint, I before Kyle Kuzma was extended, I thought he was worth trading, because I was under the impression that some stupid team out there would throw an enormous amount of cash at him. But now the Lakers have him tied up. There's no reason to move him. He's going to be incredible value as that contract ages. Older, which I think is a good thing. This is going to be a guy who's going to be in his late 20s as a Laker at a $10 million a year number, or whatever it is, $12 million a year. So the bottom line is that we just need to kind of exercise patience with him.
Vinay, you feel the same way?
Yeah, the contract is fine. We already know it's a really great value compared to some of the other contracts that got signed afterwards. I actually have a conspiracy theory, and I think what ended up happening was when Kyle signed his contract, I think all these other players around the league must have gone to their agent and said, well, I'm clearly better than this guy, so I have to get more than $13 million a year. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of a conversation, because that's usually how it goes. There's always one guy that sets the barometer for everybody else when it comes to free agency and stuff like that, outside of the clear max tier guys and stuff like that we know about. So that was the only thing, because I was like, how did all these guys get exactly the same deal? How did this guy get 16 million and another guy get 16 million? But anyways, to answer your question, I think the inconsistency on the offensive end is not as much of a concern for me because he is filling a role. And I think for him, it is very hard for him to do that. Today he did. So I'll tell you what, today he did this thing. I think I kind of maybe 2 or 3 times at the most that he did it, where he ran his designed action and he got the ball and he went up like he was going into his shooting motion. And a couple times he was midair and then he passed it away to like a wide open guy. Because what ended up happening was like 2 Spurs would converge on him. And then last minute he would kick it to somebody. I think Dennis Schroeder or Wes Matthews, one of the threes that he had came out of like one of those actions. So the thing that I'm happy with is when he doesn't have a good look, like he gives it up. And I'm okay with that because early on in like maybe last year and the year before that, I thought he was trying to do too much. And that like did some weird stuff to the Lakers offensive energy. And it was, you know, obviously very annoying for Laker fans. So seeing him do that was good. My main thing that I want to watch him for is like, is he playing well enough consistently on the defensive end? Like I need consistency on the defensive end. Keep the guy in front of you. If they make tough contested shots, that's fine. But we don't want to give up shots at the rim. So I need him to not get blown by anybody because we want to keep guys out of the paint as much as possible. That's kind of the Laker way of doing things. And if you're going to get blown by, send them to a big so that we can play some sort of defense.
Well, there you have it, guys. I think all 3 of us agree that as long as he's playing hard on defense, he'll be fine. As he gets more opportunities like he did in the Minnesota game, he'll probably shine just like he did last year when in games he started, he scored at least 20 points in most of those games. So I think he'll be just fine. A lot of this just has to do with opportunity. So I do think that he's a bit inconsistent, but he still has an opportunity to get better. Even this season, even though it's a small sample size, he's shooting a career best 46% from the field and a ridiculous career best 44% from three-point land. Again, small sample size, but clearly he is playing better than he has in past seasons. So let's see what he can do the rest of this year. The Lakers are going to rely on him as they look to ease LeBron and Anthony Davis back into, you know, playing more and more minutes. So I think he'll be just fine. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos or live streams. I appreciate you guys as always, and we'll be back with some more videos later on this week. Have a great New Year's Eve. Stay safe, everyone.